So let's get into it now. Bellevue have released their quarterly activities report, quarterly financial statement today. Look, they're on budget, on track to reach production for their Bellevue Gold project. Very exciting project, very high grade, one of the big, great development success stories in the Aussie mining sector of recent times. So without going into too much detail, Stralow, welcome to Money Mine, mate. This is part of the free promotional stuff I do to you to pay back my underground time departure. It's still ongoing.
No, that's good, mate. And I'm sure it's a good reference back to one of the old Life of Mine podcasts to talk about the time I hired you as a graduate.
That was the start of your career. Just went straight up since then. I think it's all related. It comes back to you. Hey, Darren.
No, Stralow's career went up after that podcast, actually.
I'm a bit flat, boys, because I was the first one to give Matty Michael a job after uni, and you had another managing director on the podcast before me. So, mate, you're supposed to pay those things back, Matty.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The criticism still keeps coming. It's good to hear. Mate, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate you coming on, and especially knowing that Trav's going to grill you with a good question at the end. So, mate, your quarterly's out today. Everything looks on track, on budget. How's it all tracking out at one of the exciting new development project in Australia?
Look, mate, the answer is it's busy. Like there's so much going on at the moment. We're underground mining, we're open pit mining, we're building a plant, and all at the same time. So, look, there's plenty of action on site. Everyone is really busy, really flat out. But it's actually nice to have production just on the horizon, so everyone knows what they're pulling towards. And despite the busyness and despite all the work that's happening, everyone is really enjoying themselves and having a good time, or at least that's what they show me when I go to site.
Good stuff. And so when's production on track for at this stage still?
Yeah, so we're guiding towards the second half of this year, and it's going to be more in the middle of that than towards the end of that.
Very good, mate. Now, the infamous hard ground that everyone hears about with Bellevue, how's, I guess, everyone dealing with it, the mentality, and how you're thinking it's going to go with the actual production drilling? I know a lot of it's been the jumbo development that's had to deal with it so far, but how's it looking the production will deal with the hard ground?
Yeah, so look, there's no secret that Bellevue's got hard ground, and with hard ground comes, some positives and some negatives, of course. The negatives being a bit of extra abrasion when you're doing your drilling, but the positives being the good ground conditions and the brittle nature of that really strong basalt is that it responds really well to drill and blast. And we're seeing that in our development now is you can actually put a bit extra into it, and you're actually better off putting a bit extra into it, because if you leave any toe behind, you can't rattle it down because it's so hard. So you're actually better off giving it a little bit more of a hit, so a bit higher a powder factor, and then actually making sure that you get your profile out. So we're going to take all those learnings from what we've seen in the horizontal plane into the vertical plane when we get there. And yes, it's hard and it's slower drilling than, say, a Jundee like you're used to, Matty. So I'm going to be averaging those sort of elite 500 metre per month per jumbo sort of rates, but we're still confident that we've been doing sort of big capital drives, like lots of turnouts, lots of vent rises, lots of, fiddly things, and still averaging over 300 metres per jumbo. So when we've got, multiple production levels open, massive amount of headings everywhere, we're confident we can push that sort of 350 per jumbo sort of rate, which is still pretty decent.
Now that you have hit the ore drives, have you seen a bit of an uptick in that per jumbo development rate? Now there's the smaller drives and probably a lot more of them and a bit more flow happening.
Yeah, 100%. So that the development drive that we're on has multiple headings open, so they're able to go between. It's that smaller profile. It's not that much softer, so you don't sort of get the benefit of that. But all those other things help. Short training distances, multiple headings, so you can pull out and just get straight into another drive while your rebog's happening. You're not sitting around idle, waiting for things to happen. It's you can really set it up for that productivity.
Awesome. So, Darren, we've seen some analyst reports that say about 60% of the resource ounces are in the mine plan at the moment, and they talk about potential to increase the mill to 1.2 million tonnes per annum without any capex. And those sorts of statements obviously get investors excited in the increasing gold environment. So the question there is, would it be right to infer at the moment that the project is constrained by the dirt going out into the mill from underground, or what sort of work needs to be done to upgrade that mill?
Yeah, so look, it's a really good question, and there's sort of a nuanced answer to it, as there is with most things, is that we designed the mill and designed the project based on that million tonnes per annum. So, GR Engineering, who are building the process plant, they're a lead at what they do, particularly when it comes to, just a stock standard CIL plant like we've got. Yeah, so look, we're confident that, if we need to push the plant, and, our operating team on that milling side have a track record of, really being able to optimize mills and push throughput. So we're not really worried about that side. What we want to do is make sure that we can feed it consistently from an underground perspective. What we don't want to do is have, one big quarter, one low quarter, one big quarter, one low quarter, and sawtooth our way through life and, have to sort of stretch to make things up. We want to, get into a stage where we know what this mine can consistently produce so that we can get that quarter on quarter performance. So, we're going to start off, we've got to be able to walk before we can run. So start off with that million tonne per annum run rate. And that's what we've told the market that we'll do. And that's sort of the big measuring point for us. But once we're underground, we're in production, we've got anywhere between 5 to 8 separate production areas that we can go from. So, Matty, you obviously worked at Jundee a long time. It's a similar sort of vibe to that, where you have lots of different areas that you can go to. I'm confident that we'll be able to optimize that from a mining perspective as well. So, look, it's not a clear answer, but it is certainly a project that is, built to do what it says it's going to do, but then has contingency for growth built into it.
Oh, look, Darren, I appreciate the response there, and also, I give you kudos for trying to butter me up by, telling
the
me
Jack
that
Russell's off its leash.
The family engineering firm is elite. So, but I've still got a hard question for you.
Okay, let's do it.
So, Darren, I was looking at the quarterly, and of course there's some commentary there in relation to the PPA with EDL, and you guys have exercised your right to novate that agreement, and you're currently in the process of a PPA tender. I think there's sort of two questions on my mind as part of that. One is, do you expect costs to go up as a result of this tender process? And the second one is there any link between the PPA being agreed and the drawdown of the project finance facility?
Look, long question on you. You always ask the hard questions, Trav. So thanks for coming through and being on brand. So look, the power station, we obviously had early works agreements with EDL, and those expired. So but what we do have is a plan. We have equipment, and we're building it. But what we're also doing is, we're quite advanced discussions with other IPPs, and I think you really should expect to see something sort of firm come out on that shortly. But the actual process of building the power plant and having power for mill commissioning hasn't been interrupted through this whole thing. It's just that we've had to take over the contract for a short amount of time while we get the replacement IPP in there. As far as the drawdown facility goes, we do talk consistently with Macquarie Bank. We have done one drawdown in December, and with the equity raise that we did at the time, we don't expect another drawdown. We haven't had to do another drawdown yet, but we can do another drawdown without having that final PPA signed. But look, trust me, it's building power stations on our own is not something that we want to do long term. So, we're going to get quite a commercial response in doing it. And look, we're going to be no worse off from a financial front than the last PPA that we were looking at. It is still a competitive market out there for that type of project. Yeah. And when you've got a project like Bellevue, tier 1 ESG credentials, long mine life, it is a really attractive project from a power perspective to be involved with.
So those 6 to 8 mining fronts, Stralow, that you talk of, how many of them have the green gold in it?
All of them, Matty. That's the answer.
Very good.
Look,
I wasn't getting
it's a
away
good
with
thing
that
to
one
touch on.
smart-ass question.
No, it's always good to talk about. But what we want to do, and the whole green gold narrative is, there's no companies out there apart from Bellevue that are targeting net zero by 2026. We have a really solid plan of how we're going to do that. By avoiding carbon emissions, reducing the ones that we have on site, engineering ones further out, and then offsetting a tail. This will create a product from Bellevue that doesn't have any carbon attached to it. So,
do you get a higher price for that product?
Well, nobody's doing it at the moment, right? There's examples of other commodities and other products that are zero carbon that have that do have a higher price attached to them, but no one's doing it in gold yet because no one's done it. So we're discussing with certain refiners at the moment about a verification process so that you can track where the gold comes from the mine all the way through to the gold bar, and then rather than just be blended with all the other gold bars at the refiner, actually have a Bellevue stamped bar that doesn't have any carbon attached to it, and then try and find a market for it. So it's an exciting opportunity. Nobody else is doing it, and if we can get a premium, then it'll pay for itself. So it's a very big positive for us.
That's very interesting. Yeah, what's the? I will let you go soon, Darren, but I'm just so excited to have you on. But with the I guess your haulage underground and like the actual electrical adoption of that sort of stuff, is it going to be a bit of a delay in uptake by everyone? Are you looking into it? I know it's so difficult to predict things at this stage, decline haulage, but what's your
100%. And the biggest sort of residual carbon emissions that we have are through diesel use. And at the moment, that is an engineering constraint. And it's one that's going to be hard for particularly underground mines in Western Australia, which are primarily decline mines that use big trucks. Just having the equipment to be able to do that haulage without diesel is going to take a little bit of time. What we've done is we've joined a group called the Electric Mine Consortium, which is a group of, I think, 11 mining companies and about 20 engineering companies who are all, pooling their common knowledge and their common thoughts to try and solve these problems. So, we're going out to OEMs, we're putting RFIs out to businesses to look at things like long duration battery storage, light vehicles, heavy vehicles, both open pit and underground, how we can influence policymakers on trying to promote electrification of mines. And we're sort of one of the newer groups to come into this EMC, but it's something that we're really excited about. It's something that that the people within Bellevue are really excited to get involved with and be a part of those working groups. So look, what can little old Bellevue do is just a standalone single asset producer, probably not a lot to influence the OEMs, but if we can join other like-minded companies, maybe it's something that we can do. So we're excited to see where that journey takes us.
Oh, I've got heaps more questions, but I think we're just going to have a long-winded one day stretch. So let's chuck that in the planned calendar, I think. There's a lot to get into with Bellevue.
Nice one, Matty.
Mate, I'll let you get back to the office. Thanks very much for coming on Money of Mine, mate. Really, really appreciate it.
No, pleasure to be here. I really enjoy what you guys are doing, and keep up the good work. Thanks, Trav, and thanks, JD.
Thanks.
Cheers, Darren.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one. Right, there you go. Good on you, Stralow. Thanks very much, mate. Really appreciate him coming on. Good fellow. That first time you've met him over the phone, lads?
Yeah, that's right.
First time.
Geez, look at me just name dropping. Hey, if you need a number, just let me know, boys. I'll sort it out for you.
You're opening up doors for us here.
Oh, God. Well, at least you're bored. You're probably thinking, I was thinking some days you'd think, what have we actually bought into here? So every time I deliver on something, I'm fulfilling my value.
The master networker, Matty.